New reports reveal that a massive trade update could be coming to the Bronx very quickly. Will Brian Cashman and his counterpart and boss Hal Steinbrenner make this deal come true? What is going on, guys, and welcome to Yankees Digest. I am your host, Gabby Gordon. Really welcoming you in today because we've got a ton to talk about. And yes, it is very true that former Yankee Jameson Taillon of the Chicago Cubs now may be making a reunion with his former squad. But before we begin, if you're among the 94.1% not currently subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button right now so that you never miss a beat. But yes, that is true. Jameson Taillon. Reports reveal from many sources that the Red Sox and the Yankees may be in a bit of a war here to go after the Chicago Cubs starter, Jameson Taillon. And as we know, Taillon has been a Yankee once before. Now he is currently a Chicago Cub. And just taking a look at his stats here, in 16 games, he struck out 75, let up 90 hits with 12 homers allowed and a 3.10 ERA. So overall statistics are not really exciting, and he has been dealing with some of a back issue and for some of this season, so he hasn't been a completely consistent type of starter to rely on. But he's 32, he's 6'5", and we know that when he's on, he is capable of quite a bit. And one thing that the Yankees are truly lacking right now is depth within their starting rotation. That is obviously something that truly does need to be addressed. And obviously the Yankees rotation has been struggling in many aspects with a lack of consistency and so on and so forth. But according to this report of Bob Nightengale from USA Today, quote, both the Yankees and the Red Sox have checked in with the Cubs and discussed the potential availability of right-hander Jameson Taillon. Now, as we know, the Cubs are obviously not having a great season. They are going to be sellers come trade deadline, which is literally just a week away. And so this is a definite opportunity for them to get some value out of their starter in Taillon and have the buyers, a.k.a. the Yankees and the Red Sox, and any other team that may potentially be interested that we haven't heard about yet, pounce on that opportunity and kind of get this guy and potentially change the season around, because you need starting pitching, and that's something the Yankees have but don't have in abundance. Another quote I found very interesting is that Bruce Levine stated pretty simply, pretty blunt, quote, most likely not. And this is his response on being asked if Taillon will be a Cub post-trade deadline. So it seems like a deal may already be done without actually being done. And what I mean by that is it seems like Taillon may not be a Cub come trade deadline, come a week, right? He may be in a different uniform, whether that's pinstripes, whether that's in Boston, whether that's elsewhere. What we do know is that he's on the table. It's pretty clear that he's on the table, and that this is something that the Yankees obviously need to pounce on, because when you've got stats like this, you need a change. According to Brian Hoke on X, since June 15th, the Yankees' 5.37 ERA is the second highest in the league, behind the Rockies with a 5.58, and their 6.24 rotation ERA is worst. And then, of course, like Aaron Boone has said, the long ball has been hurting this team, and they just haven't been able to keep the ball within the park, and that's really been the story of All-Star break, and we are even seeing it post-All-Star break, and not much has changed for this roster, for this team within the pitching aspect. So, of course, we talk about the need for offense, but we've also talked about the need for pitching, both within the bullpen and within the starting rotation. We've spoken a lot about Tanner Scott. We've spoken a lot about Garrett Crochet. We've spoken about Cody Bellinger. So many targets, the Yankees have to pounce on at least one of them. Can't just sit around and do nothing, because that truly is the definition of insanity. But again, like I mentioned, Jameson Taillon has played in pinstripes. He's familiar with what it's like to play in Yankee Stadium. And for a lot of guys, Yankee Stadium is just not a place where they can play and be successful. Taillon has had success, minimal success, but success in pinstripes. And it would be interesting to note if maybe something could change come a reunion. Maybe just a little break was all that was truly needed. But when you look at certain things like this with the Cubs, who are trailing the division and lead the trailing Brewers by 10 games. They're 3.5 games out of the wild card spot in the National League. 48-53 as of this morning. At the time I'm filming this, it's like they're totally open to moving him because their situation is disappointing. And at this point, see what you can get for Taillon, right? See what you can get. And I, of course, don't know what they'd be asking for him, but whatever the Yankees are willing to give up, it could be very, very interesting. Now, if we just take a look really quickly at the starting rotation for New York, it's alarming, right? You start off with Nestor Cortes, who's struggled this year, 3.99 ERA in 21 games, and he just hasn't had a great year. Let up 19 home runs, 24 walks, he's hit 3 batters, and he's let up 53 earned runs with a 3.99 ERA. Look, he's not... There's just not much to say regarding Cortes, to be completely honest. It is what it is with him. And then you move over to Marcus Stroman, who is rocky and not consistent at 3.51 ERA. He's let up 43 earned runs in 20 games. And then you move over to Carlos Rodon, who we've just had so much disaster with Rodon and his contract and what that looks like and what we hope that the rest of it will look like. And if he's able to pick things up at 4.63 ERA is just not something that you want to look at. And then we have Luis Gil, who was playing like, honestly, Cy Young. And he's a young kid, and he was literally tearing up opposing teams. And now he's just kind of struggled as of late, a 3.17 ERA. And he's been rocky, and we know what he's capable of when he's really, really on. But other than that, it's like he hasn't really been on it, and that's really been the disappointment. And then, of course, Garrett Cole, the ace, who was obviously injured, hasn't had a full season, now has a 4.60 ERA, and just a lot of questions within this rotation. And it really does beg the question and possibility that maybe a change is needed. Maybe this is what needs to happen, and maybe Jameson Taillon, who already has the experience of playing for Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner and Aaron Boone, already has that experience of being in the Bronx in pinstripes. Maybe that is beneficial. Maybe it's not. This is all speculation, and obviously the fact that there has been conversation between the Cubs and the Yankees is a big indicator that this very well could come to the surface as a legitimate move, but nonetheless, this is all speculation, and even if the deal does get done, it certainly does not mean that Jameson Taillon is going to come in and save the day, and he could actually make things worse. So, again, it is a toss-up, but when you have a guy who you know you can put trust in and know what he is capable of, maybe why not just go for it? Why not pull the trigger on this? Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Do you want Taillon back? Do you not want him back? Do you think he can play in the Bronx? Do you think he can't? It's really a toss-up in that situation as well, because some guys just have it and can play in pinstripes, and some guys, it just gets the best of them. You know how New York fans are. I mean, look at us. We're crazy, right? So some guys can handle it. Maybe you say Taillon couldn't handle it, and he should just stay away. It's very possible that that's the case. All I know, and all I'm going to leave you with here for this particular video, is that something's got to give, something's got to change, and something has to get better. And that's really it, because when you're chasing for 28 here, if you're Brian Cashman, you've got to start stepping on that gas and pushing down on that gas and making things happen this week. It has to happen now. This is the time. There is no better time. You got to change something. So with that, that is going to do it for this episode of Yankees Digest. If you like what you see, if you like the Yankees, you want to keep following us as we continue to cover everything New York, especially this week, because we got some crazy stuff that needs to happen before this deadline, which is literally just a week away. Hit that subscribe button so that you never miss a beat. With all that being said, this has been Yankees Digest. I've been your host, Gabby Gordon. I'll catch you in the next one.